All right, so today I am at home in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know at the beginning of the week I was going to be home for the weekend, right? So let me share with you the thought process that occurred that led me to being here today on my bed talking to you, sharing with you this, one of very important lessons that I learned recently in my life, right? So on Wednesday, I found out that the chain of command was going to give their sailors Friday off. So Friday off, Saturday and Sunday, and Monday is off because it's Labor Day. So 4-day weekend, they call it 96-hour liberty. And so I found that on Wednesday. So I had a decision to make. Should I go home for the weekend, right? And I started to calculate how much it's going to cost and how many hours I'm going to spend. So I've done this a couple of times. So it's 9 hours to Pennsylvania and 9 hours back to Virginia. So that's 18 hours plus $250 on a round trip train ticket. So I said to myself initially, I don't want to do that, right? I want to save $250 and also basically save a whole day of not traveling, 18 hours of traveling. And so initially I didn't want to go. But then I remember reading a book called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch, where, just to give you a quick summary, I highly recommend that book, by the way. There's many different lessons that you can learn from this book, but one of my biggest takeaways from this book, and I'll just give you a quick summary here. Randy, he was a professor at a college teaching students, right? And he found out he had cancer and he tried his best to fight the cancer, but unfortunately, he had 9 months to live, right? And so he gave his last lecture as a professor to a group of 400 or 500 audience, and also he wrote that book, as he was going through this process, right? So one of the biggest takeaways for me, a big life lessons that I learned through that book was you never know when your life is going to end. Right, which sounds like a cliche thing to say, but it just kind of reminded me that you never know, right? You could find out tomorrow that you have cancer. A year from now, you could find out you have cancer and you only have, a month to live, 3 months to live, 9 months to live. And so as that occurred, as I was thinking about that, right, about a month ago, I was talking to a chief, right, E7. And he was about to retire from the military, right? He'd do his 20 years. And I was talking to him. I don't know him all too well. I just had a conversation with him here and there. And I said to him, what are you looking forward to on your retirement? And he said, what? I've been waiting 20 years for this moment. And I'm going to be doing this, traveling to places, going to places, doing all that kind of stuff. And, he retired. And about 2 weeks ago, I saw him on a Thursday. And 3 days later, on a Sunday, he passed away, right? He didn't know. He didn't know he was going to pass away 3 days later. I didn't talk to him at that moment on Thursday because he was far away. I couldn't really, yell out and say anything to him. But he didn't know he was going to pass away, right? So as this occurred and I read that book, I thought about what would Randy be thinking on his deathbed? What would Randy have thought about? And reading the book, I can assume a lot of it was about his family, right? 3 children he left behind that are probably not going to remember him all too well because they're too young. And also his wife, who spent all this time trying to make sure that his last moments were as best as it could be. So it would probably be about his family, right? And also what would Chief be thinking about as he was on the spot passing away, right? I can assume, right, it was probably about family, right? And as I was thinking about that, and I said to myself, if I was to die right now, what would be my thought process? It would definitely be about family, right? Not the $250 that I spent, buying that train ticket and the 18 hours commuting, going to Pennsylvania 9 hours and going back to Virginia 9 hours. Nothing about that, but about, I'll probably be thinking about, I wish I could see my family. I wish I could talk to my family one last time. I wish I could have spent more time with my family. And I would probably, be looking back, thinking about how much time I wasted not spending time with family. So what I wanted to share with you, not as in like an advice or anything like that, but just, as a conversation from me to you, right? just, think about what's important to you in your life, right? Because you never know when you're going to pass away, right? Chief didn't know he was going to pass, away on a Sunday. Randy, in a way, fortunate way, he knew 9 months in advance he was going to pass away, but he was still relatively young. He was a young parent. I think he was in his 40s or something like that. So whatever is valuable to you in your life, right? Spend as much time as you can cherishing that moment, spending as much time as you can, whether it be with your family or your wife, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, and also doing the things that you find fulfillment in your life. As Randy did, he gave his last lecture as a professor, as a doctor, as a teacher to a bunch of people that left kind of his legacy, kind of the ripple effect, affecting different people in during his lifetime and also beyond through his book. So that's kind of just a thought that I had today and what I wanted to share with you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great Navy Day.